Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me. I am Sanyukta Saxena and this is the last piece of work that we created, and today is a brand new session. We will be furthering our journey with regard to Zentangle Inspired Art, beautiful pieces of art, random pieces of art that starts from generally the center and then it just grows and evolves around the page, right? Not planning much here, trying different angles and enjoying ourselves. That's the main purpose, right? So today's again I have taken a bigger piece of paper about A5, right, and drawn a circle in the center. You can always do it freehand, since I find the center of the page, so that somewhere the design is in the center of the page. Yeah, so I drew that circle also with my compass, but you can always do away with that step and just start with a random circle or orb in the middle. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's see how do we proceed today. So what I'm going to do is start from the center and use a tangle called changing, right? So this is a Zentangle original and it looks like a chain. It is called changing, right? And I have already done videos on these tangles, so in case you are absolutely new to the tangle, you can always refer to the videos. However, I am drawing slowly, so you can always watch me. So I started with two curves and then I am going to surround it and then bring down another two set of lines, curvy lines, again touching these two lines, one more set of lines, again touching these two lines, one more, like this. Yeah, so that's the way I'm going to draw the tangle changing. We try not to keep too much of gap here, right? So but it's okay even if it is more. Right, so just filling in the small little intersectices, right? Again I'm going to start one here, so one, two, one, two, 1 2. The first one is touching the previous two lines. Yeah, so it is quite an angle, almost 90 degrees to the previous two. This line is almost perpendicular to these two. Yeah, and then go back and just fill in the small little intersectices. Again I'm going to start 1 2 1 2. Take your time. Right, so we'll do 2 or 3 more here. I think one more here. On the last one now, tangle changing. An extension of this tangle is punzel, wherein we extend this tangle a little further and create another tangle called punzel. You can do that for this project also. Yeah, so we have done that. Now the in between spaces, it is up to us. So it will be a good idea to add a thin aura inside and close the space like this. Yeah, so I'm going to do that throughout. Why? Because we have some inkings here, right? So if we plan to do something which has inking, then it may mingle with my changing. That part of inking may get lost, right? So that's the only reason why I'm adding a thin close aura. Right? And the last one, take your time. Right? So let's now add, as I mentioned, some bunzo, series of consecutive C shapes inked in pairs. That's the tangle bunzo. Right? You may not leave a highlight as you ink these bands in pairs. Take your time and slowly draw these. C shapes, no other stroke involved. Yeah. And some hidden ones here. So once we are done with that, let us now go ahead and ink. Right, so I'm going to leave a highlight and ink the rest. If you don't feel like inking, you can also add some other tangle in these pairs, something like orbs or printums or caviars, whatever you feel like, right? So I like bunzo the way it is, with bold inks and some highlights, and I intend to stick to that version here because I like the drama that it adds. But again, it's up to you. You may go for a different version, right? So I'm going to do this same exercise for all the sections. Yeah, so take your time, don't haste up, ink the sections properly, leave a highlight. Even if you forget, that's fine. You can always do that exercise with your chalk. So if you remember adding a highlight, good. If you don't bother. Right? So give me a little time and I get back to you with the inked bunzos. Yeah. So still doing the same exercise on the last one though. Inking alternate bands, alternate C's. Take your time. You can see the drama that it adds to your work. Right? And the last one. So be patient while you are inking, that's very important, so that you ink it properly and don't leave too many white sections in between which get highlighted when you take a picture. Yeah, so it's important that you're patient while you're inking, and inking being a very integral part of the tangle, right? So once we are done with that, let's proceed a little further. Let's insert some mukas, right? So what I'm going to do is probably draw a broad reference line using my pencil. So I'm just going to draw a broad reference to remember till what extent I have to draw my muka, so that it's kind of uniform and they are not big and small in sizes, right? So just drawing a broad pencil reference, because I'm going to draw mukas now. So let's start. So what I'm going to do is draw a nice muka like this, and then another one like this, touching the other one, forming almost like a heart shape. Yeah, again rotate, give a nice curve, nice pod, again go the other way, come down, join it here, almost forming a heart inside. Again take a nice curve, again go back, touch the first one, come back, right? So I'm not lifting my hand anywhere, hardly lifting it, the way muka is usually drawn. So one stroke tangle, right? Just breaking it here a little when I start the second one, that's about it. Else I'm not lifting my hand, just going with the flow, enjoying the shape, right? So take your time, do that exercise. So there is so much that you can do with the tangles that you already know, right? So there is no need to know hundreds of tangles. 20-25 tangles, you can create endless varieties, you can explore endlessly, right? So just keep going, enjoy the stroke, enjoy the flow, the movement. Yeah, very versatile tangle, you can arrange it in so many different ways, and every time it looks different because of the way it has been arranged. Yeah, and the last one now. Yeah, and we are sorted, right? So now what I'm going to do is, either you can add hybrid there, or you can add the simple triangular fragment that we often add, something like this, right? You can also add hybrid, just lines coming from both sides, right? Entirely up to you. Choose a tangle that you feel like. You can add many more things. It's a triangular space, right? So any kind of fragment will fit in here. So this is basically a fragment, generally drawn in a triangular grid. Very commonly used. Right? So I'll just do that quickly. So on the last one now. Done with that. Now up to us, what do we want to do inside our heart shapes? So I'm just going to insert a part of moon pie, not much. right? So a moon, two auras and some orbs is all that I'm going to do. Not draw the entire, not extend it more. So take your time and do that exercise for all the heart shaped mochas. Yeah. Make sure the orbs are close to each other, small little spaces, just ink it as you draw the orbs. Yeah. On the last one now, just inking the moon, adding two auras, and then adding the orbs. Right? We are done with that. Now I am again going to add an outer aura or outline my mochas. Right? Done with that. Now up to what, how do we want to proceed first? So we have these spaces also, right? So what I was saying, that either you can go with the same or you can add hybrid like this. Yeah, both look nice. If you want some inking, then you can ink, even that will add. You can add some small orbs, tiny tipple. So many things that you can do. So these are just ideas. As I keep saying, explore. You need not use the same set of tangles. Just take a cue from the arrangement and then make it your own. Use different tangles, what you feel like, and enjoy the process. That's most important. Yeah, done with that. Now let us add something more. So I am going to add this small little sleeping gorgeous on each of my mochas. An orb, again a sleeping gorgeous. So I'm taking cue from this, right? In between space I'm inserting an orb, again starting here, finishing here, rolling it in, again adding an orb, again starting here, finishing here, again adding an orb. Yeah, you can see this is the size of my gorgeous sleeping one. Again adding an orb, again starting here, again adding an orb, again starting here, again adding an orb. Fun, right? Fun shapes, simple shapes, and still you create such a beautiful piece. Gorgeous sleeping on the mocha. Yeah, yeah, right? Done with that. Now one small exercise. You can either shade these orbs the way they are, or you can convert it into caviars. We'll see that later. Gorgeous will just shade the way it is generally done, right? But I'm going to add some thick lines, some thin lines, just alternate that. So what I'm doing here is adding some thick lines and thin lines alternatively, just like we do for gorgeous. Right? This is a small gorgeous, just half of it, thick line, thin line, thick line, thin line, thick line. Yeah? Thick line, thin line, thick line, thin line. So that's what I have done throughout. Yeah, done with that. Now small exercise, one more last. Going to take a cue from here and add some S, 3 stands of S, 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, so that's a part of the tangle drawings. 2 and 3. Going with the S shape, using the curve of my gorgeous to create that S. 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just writing S. Yeah, so once you are done with that, now just like you do for drawings, come back, and come back. Yeah, come back from the tip of the S on the opposite side. Just come back to about the center of the next line. Yeah, so these gorgeous are really having fun. They plan to fly. Although they are lying down lazily, but they have big plans. Yeah, take your time and do that exercise just the way you do for the tangle drawings. Right, done with that. Now let's leave it here. We'll see if we want to add something else, right? Probably an aura or some orbs, right? So we shall see that. Probably small orbs would be a good idea. I feel like doing that here. Something like this. Orbs or puffs. This version generally used as an enhancement, also called as puffs. Yeah. Take your time. Almost finishing there. Yeah, right? So we are done with that. Go back and see if there are small little spaces in between. Even if dots, just fill it in. Yeah, adds, it definitely adds to the look. Yeah. Yeah, so we are done with that. Now there are some spaces left here inside the mocha. You can either keep it the way it is, or you can add something else, something like this. Yeah, so that's entirely optional. I've just added a V shape and just inked half of it, but you can always not do that. Just that I'm not liking it absolutely empty, so this shape came to my mind. You can also add lines. Right? Something like the shape we draw for zenith. We did draw it in the last session, right? Same shape, V shape, inking the half. Yeah, that's about it. We are done. So let's, small little spaces, go back, ink it. Good idea to ink it. Right, so let us now move to shading, and we shall see if we want to add something else somewhere. Right, so I'm now going to pick up my pencil, add on the two sides of the banzo where there is no highlight. There is no need to add on the blacks, but if you want, you can just run your pencil. Anyways, it is going to reflect, so I'm just skipping the blacks. Yeah, take your time, slowly add graphite to both the sides, the white sections of your banzo. And the last one here. Yeah, coming to the mocha, the empty section and the heads, the pods. You can also choose to add a little rounding here at the turnings. We shall see if we want to do that. There's always a scope for something more. I always realize that as I draw. Right, so Objective of this series is to give you a glimpse of how you can create beautiful artwork pieces, Zentangle inspired, with the tangles that you know. It's just about arranging. I'm mostly drawing in a circular format, and you can see the variety we can create. We don't even need to change the format. You can either go with circular, you can go with square formats, diamond formats, right? Just choose your tangles prudently and you see the magic that they create. Yeah, just adding graphite before we start to shade some here. Take your time. Visit each of the gorgeous, add some graphite at the ends, right? So let us shade this much first. What I am going to do is probably add some on one side of the changing, right? That's not generally the way you shade this tangle because there are intersections and overlaps, so you try to highlight those, but since it is very small here, so if I try to highlight it, I will end up turning the entire thing gray. Yeah, so I have just changed the way I would shade it and highlight half of it like this, right? And half is gray and half would be white, so maybe you get a different kind of an effect. We'll see, right? So nothing wrong, nothing bad in Zentangle, so feel free to explore. That's the fun part. I keep exploring, right? I'm doing that even as I'm drawing this. As I mentioned earlier also, I have certain things in my mind as I start the video, but by the time I'm finishing it, it always turns out something different because I keep adding things in between as I draw. Yeah, so that's the beauty. Enjoy it. Right, so just blend, but don't make the entire section gray. Leave little whites. That's what makes the gray pop up. Nice heartful shape, hearty shape inside. Yeah, moving on to our mocha heads, mocha pods. So I just drew a C shape and I am blending it. Yeah, you can see with pencil I just make a C mark and then I'm just going ahead and blending it. Take your time, have fun. Right? Moving on next to our orbs. Just a slight touch. Trying to keep the center white and blending. Probably if you have a finer blender, you can do that with greater precision. Yeah, moving on to our gorgeous and the drawings, just a touch because it's pretty small. Yeah, so be patient while you are shading, while you are blending. Don't haste up, take your time. Shading takes as much or sometimes more time than your tangling. So make that effort. Don't haste up as you lay shading. Don't get restless. Take a break. Right? So we are done with that. Now let us see if we can highlight few places. Right? So I'm going to pick up my chalk pencil and highlight the other half of my changing, so that it pops up. Right, so you already have a highlight on your banzo, so I'm just re-emphasizing it. You did not do anything there. Yeah, and then probably a little touch on the gorgeous, the upper part where you have not added graphite. You can highlight it a little. I'm sorry. That's about it. Yeah, so I don't think we require anything else here. If you want, you can convert these orbs into something else. If you want, you can add a touch of rounding here that will add a little to your muka. So what you can do is go back to your mukas and just add little bit of rounding at the turnings. Right? So just adding a little weight, and you can see your mukas get highlighted a little more. That's the technique of rounding, weighting, whatever you want to call it. As if they are sticking, something sticky there. And we are about done. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can see how it adds. So I'm going to close it here. Take your time. If you want to go ahead, add something else, you can always do that. Yeah. And I shall see you again with another new session. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.